Elio guys, and welcome back once again to another episode of Infinite Magicraid. In today's video though, we have Liz, which at this point in time of soft launch is arguably like the best healer in the game. So without further ado, let's go and take a look at her here. I do have her. I currently just need to build her because I've been investing into other units, but once my investment is over for said unit, you guys will see a video on her and I can actually spend more time building up baby girl Liz here. But she's a supporter and she's also a light mark, meaning that she is a light unit, so she doesn't have to worry about any of the RGB type damage stuff going on here. But let's go and take a look at her skills because her stats are here, and I mean, as an epic, they're okay. There's nothing extravagant about them. Her speed is slightly slow, but I wouldn't call her slow. She's definitely faster than, I want to say, Magus, who is a, you know, you can honestly compare them two together, but you're going to find out real quick that while Magus is good, Liz is the next step up. So hopefully with this information here, you can realize that both of these healers are usable. It's just certain situations where one could outperform the other. Because, I mean, I don't know anyone going through the Tower of Mastery with just Liz, because you can't use different elements in the Tower of Mastery. Just FYI. But starting off here with her basic attack, which is called Scorch Soul, this deals 180% of her attack damage to a single enemy with a 30% chance to inflict 1 layer of HP burning for 2 rounds, and HP burning takes damage by 8% of max HP. This, once again, is just dirt nasty low, so the probability of that happening, especially when you take into account that a unit can resist this before it even goes through, is low. I wouldn't rely on this. This is just here to do basic damage because it's called a basic attack. But with it fully booked up, we do see it increase to 260% of her attack damage, which isn't bad. It's obviously not legendary level, but it's not bad. Her second skill though, Fire Heal, which has a 4-turn cooldown, restores HP by 80% of her attack, plus 6% of max HP for an ally, and grants them resistance debuff for 1 round. Meaning, once she heals up that said ally with some nice chunky heals, they can't be debuffed for a whole entire round, especially in a PvP situation already. That gets interesting because that means if I, for example, have someone like Holder, who I know on my next turn I want to kind of get his counterattack popped off, I don't want to risk running him with his counterattack going off and him being like stunned or something before that, because that could end up meaning that I lose the match. So I can go ahead and heal him up, make sure that he can't be debuffed, and let him do his job. So that does add some kind of flavor into PvP, and obviously in a PvE situation, this can help you know, make sure that your strongest DPS stays alive for another round to take care of those pesky ass monsters on Nightmare and Hell. Just FYI. But with books though, we see that HP regeneration goes up to 12% of her max HP, and it gets reduced to 3 turns. So that right there, you guys, I love that. That is great. But the only thing to me that's kind of monkey ass about this is that her HP restoration also kind of is based off her attack, which you'll find out later doesn't really synergize with any of her moves because she has a different heal based off purely of her HP. So it's like, why make one based off one and one based off the other when her main job is just to heal? Alright, next up though, we do have Soul Steal, which is her passive skill, and this restores her HP by 3% of her max HP for every 1 debuff inflicted on an enemy, and with this fully booked up, it gets bumped up to 5% of her max HP for every 1 debuff inflicted on an enemy. Meaning, if you're running a composition that uses bleed, you're running a composition that uses like speed down, there's defense down, attack down, etc. If you have those units, HP burning, whatever, basically any unit that you pair up with her, there's a potential chance for her to heal every turn. Meaning, I don't have to waste any of my turns in theory to top off her health alone. So I can focus on making sure that one of my other units is always topped off, or if someone else needs help, I can heal them instead of like wasting one of my turns to heal Liz herself. And then for her ultimate skill, which is Resurrection, even though it's called Resurrection, there's no resurrection happening. It has a 5-turn cooldown and restores HP by 10% of her max HP, I believe, for all allies, and cleanses their dot debuffs. Meanwhile, this also grants them a shield by 20% of Liz's max HP for 2 rounds, and with this fully booked up, it goes up to 13% of her max HP for all allies, and it also gets reduced to 4 turns. So not only can she cleanse your entire squad of stuff like bleed, or you have HP burning for example, but she can also heal them up and put a shield on them. This is what makes her better than Magus, at least in my opinion, because of this. While he does have heals, and I believe Magus can take care of not dot debuffs, but he can take care of something else. Means both of these healers are situational, but I would say in general, Liz is just going to be more useful, especially as you hit higher and higher in terms of the story stages for like Nightmare and Hell. And obviously both of those healers have their own respective uses, but I would say overall Liz just takes the cake, because not only do you get healed, but you also get a shield for 2 rounds. I mean, I can't complain. And she also has her own kind of self-sustaining ability with her passive, so that's already nice. But for her exclusive weapon though, Soul Staff, she obviously gets that increase in stats, and at level 4 and 5 she gets a speed increase by 40. So with her level 1 skill in terms of her Soul Staff for exclusive weapon, burn or HP burning received by her will then be converted into heal. So if you're facing any units that use any of these moves, she gets to heal off that. I think that's great. That is nice. At level 2 though, Resurrection restores the target's HP by 3% of max HP for every 1 layer of dot debuff cleanse. Meaning if your units have a whole bunch of dots on them when you decide to pop off this ultimate, they're going to get healed even more. And the moneymaker right here, you guys. This is what makes Liz awesome. At level 3, it increases her shield strength provided by Resurrection to 40% of her max HP, not just 20% of her max HP. That is a huge, just nasty and vile increase. Now, the issue I do have with Liz though is with one of her skills being scaled off her attack, I wouldn't necessarily give her a attack set, because at the end of the day, she is a supporter. She will always be a supporter. She is not here to do DPS. She is here to heal. So I would say focus more so on sets that give her HP and also increase her healing effect. And if you can get subs from certain sets that boost her attack up, that's just, you know, sprinkles on top of the ice cream at this point in time. But I wouldn't focus on attack. You have DPS units that are there to do damage, and you have supporters that are there to make sure the squad is healed up so your DPS units can do attack. But hopefully the video helped you guys. Feel free to check out any of the other ones if you missed it. Check out the stuff that I have put on the subreddit. And also, yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.